The Diocese of Paisley podcast is proudly sponsored by Consilium Contracting Services, your Paisley family-owned company, one call for all trades, available 24/7.
Hi and welcome to the Diocese of Paisley podcast with me, Tony. In this episode I speak to Paul McGrath, who runs the heating and plumbing business Consilium, who are based in Paisley. I find out as well about Consilium sponsoring St Mirren Football Club. I also find out about Paul's trips to Medjugorje. Paul joins me now. Could you tell us, when did you come up with the idea to start the business?
So it was just a little over 11 years ago it is now, and the idea was first and foremost just taking a huge jump, a huge chance. I was working with a company called City Facilities in the Gorbals for a long time, and we generally decided as a family just to take a huge chance, and that chance ended up being Consilium. The name actually came from, it's actually in Latin, it means to plan to do. My background is facilities management. So when that name kind of came to us, and I'll tell you how that came to us, it just made sense because my whole background in particularly city facilities management, city refrigeration and Gorbals was and is facilities management. So it was a cracking name. It just seemed to fit perfectly well for what we were going to be doing. The name actually came from a guy who came with me, a guy called Lee Hilton from who's actually based in Sheffield. Who was working with me in City, and then he also took a jump with us to start Consilium, albeit it was all me and all my financial bit that started the company. It was a guy called Lee Hilton, who I thank to this day for coming up with such a great name, because it fitted in so perfectly well for what we were doing.
And your company sponsors St Mirren Football Club. How did this come about?
Since I was a wee boy, been a massive fan of St Mirren since I was, don't know what age I was, but since I was a young boy, and a lot of the family are. Some of the family are Celtic, but the majority are thankfully St Mirren supporters. But since a wee boy I've been a huge fan. So when Consilium came along, it took us a few years to get Consilium motoring, and we started doing small bits of sponsorship through the stadium and so on and so forth. That then eventually led to the back of the shirts, and last season we managed to get the main sponsorship on the front of the shirt this season, and we're going to be in the next 2 seasons thereafter, which takes us into St Mirren's 150th year. So it's going to be a huge, to me it's obviously we pay money, but it's a huge honour for the family and me to be on the front of the shirts, because we're such huge fans. And when I say that, I mean the whole family. It's great because really Consilium goes back to McGrath's, and it's great to see that Consilium name on the front of the shirts. But we're huge fans, and it's just it's been an honour to see our name in front of the shirts.
And you regularly go to Medjugorje. Where is Medjugorje, and why is it important for Catholics?
Medjugorje is in Bosnia. I've been going there since 2019. I came back to my faith in 2019. I'd left my faith for quite a long time, unfortunately, but I came back in 2019. One of the first things I did, I came back in January in 2019, but in the May I went over to Medjugorje. There's many places in the world, be it Lourdes and Fatima, and obviously many other places that are really symbolic for our faith. Many I've not been to, but I was drawn to Medjugorje from almost from the start. And you're talking about hundreds and hundreds of thousands of visitors and hundreds of thousands over the years of conversions to the Catholic faith that have happened in Medjugorje, as I know that it happened anywhere else. I think it's probably more symbolic because it's one of the most recent apparitions of the Blessed Mother, and that's not the reason that I go. I go because I get a feeling of real peace and joy and calmness when I go. But for the Catholic faith, it being so close in the relation to years to the Blessed Mother visiting, I think that's one of the reasons that will draw a lot of Catholics towards Medjugorje. It's certainly probably one of the reasons I was initially going, but now I'm consistently going to Medjugorje. Is I'm going there to find the peace and the joy and the spirituality that comes with it, and God, because ultimately that's why all of us would go anywhere, any places of pilgrimage, is to get in touch with God, and it's very important. Yeah, it's very important to me, and when we love it as a family, and we go quite a lot.
Is it a group that you go with, or is it a pilgrimage that you go on?
The first time I'd gone, I went on my own, so I took the bold step to go on my own. However, I met many people when I was there, and those many people I met then, I'm still friends with now, Matt being one of them. You can talk about Matt later, post this. So I initially went on my own in the May 2019, and then I went back in the August, and then met even more people. So I've been going consistently since then. I go with a St Mirren legend called Tony Fitzpatrick. So I go with Tony Fitzpatrick and his wife Maureen. Been going there for years with the two of them, and we've now got a collection. So you could say it's a pilgrimage, because we've got about 8 people that go with us almost every year. Every October we go to Medjugorje, and we all have a blessed time. I'm going to say a wonderful time. It is a wonderful time, but we're all going there for a specific reason, and it's great. Yeah, so I go with a pilgrimage, but it's a pilgrimage of family, if that makes sense. Because my son's been going for the last 4 years. I'm not sure he's going to go this year, but it's been a blessing having my son go to Medjugorje over the last few years as well.
What would you say to someone that may be thinking about going to Medjugorje?
I would probably, the way that I've been doing it over the years is so you're not in anyone's face, is firstly hopefully get people curious, and to get people curious we need to do what we're doing here is to mention the name Medjugorje, and then just direct them to genuinely to even to Google, to the website, to look. Don't take my word for it of how calm and peaceful and the genuine peace that you get when you're there for the duration that you're there. Having an initial look into it. That's the way I've been doing it over the years with non-people that are atheists and people that are not Catholics, is I purposely drop the name Medjugorje and they get instantly curious, and then when you say it's in Bosnia they go, alright, it's in Bosnia, alright, and all I do is ask them, it's like a wee drop in the ocean, is to go and look at it, go and Google it and go and see what you think. The other backup of it is when they come back and ask you more, I'll tell them about my experiences in Medjugorje, which every single one of them have been every year is fantastic. There's a different feeling, there's a feeling of calmness, that genuine calmness you get every year, which is a very similar feeling. There's always something different that occurs when you're in Medjugorje. It's such a, to me, and I need to go to Lourdes and Fatima, because I'm not there in Garibandal, I've not been, and I will go, but there's such a unique feeling, and I'm probably drawn there because it was the first place I'd gone since I came back to my faith. But it's, go and look at Medjugorje, look at it even on the internet first, but trust me, you'll love it.
Is there any time of the year that the weather gets hot, and would you advise anyone thinking of going to avoid?
There is. August gets extremely warm, mid to 30s and upwards, albeit May, June and July are also extremely warm as well, but maybe not the kind of August to early September part of it. However, there is so much you can do there when you're undercover, that all you need to do is take the appropriate protection. However, admittedly, because I've been in August, getting up and down the mountain in August, because there's certain places you do, and it is literally a mountain you climb up and down if you're up to doing that kind of thing. It's called Cross Mountain. That's quite arduous, and that'll be more challenging through August. But trust me when I say this, when I've been getting up and down this mountain, and it is a mountain, so when I'm talking about a mountain, it's genuinely a mountain. There's people at 90 getting up and down this. It's so surreal, literally beyond belief, when you go up and down this mountain and you see those people at that age get up and down it. It's just incredible. But I would say August is extremely warm. However, August is also the summer festival, so it's even busier in August as well, and that's not a bad thing, because it's fantastic whatever time of the year you go at. August is extremely warm.
Is it very expensive to make the trip?
No, we usually book in advance, so we booked our flights, which we do every year, really early on when we go with EasyJet, and we went to fly into Split, but you can go to Dubrovnik as well. We will book them round about February, March, when EasyJet release them as such, so you can usually get it for a kind of decent price when you're booking it on your own. You can go on a pilgrimage, part of Joe Walsh tours and so on and so forth, and that'll probably, in fact I know that'll probably be cheaper because they'll do an inclusive package. But if you book it early enough, it's usually quite economical to go. You know, we about £250 for a flight return. It just depends when you book it. I think if you get in early enough, it's usually pretty decent. Or you can chance it and go whenever you go. If you're going to go in late July, book it mid-July, because you'll likely get a seat, and if it's mid-July you might get it a bit cheaper. But we always book in advance, and we always go to the same family. So we stay with a family, so we'll book the family a year in advance. It's called Mario Maria, who we stay with, so we actually live in someone's house, and it's just incredible. A lot of people listening will probably know who that is. So we usually book that in a year in advance, and we did for those two. We booked it a year in advance, and then you'll book your flights around about the February, because we go in October, to that. But if you do it in advance, you'll always get it cheaper, and it's pretty sustainable over there as well. When you're there, it's no dead cheap, but it's nothing like we pay here at home.
Do you have a favourite time of the year for making the pilgrimage?
Yeah, we go October every year, and believe it or not, in October it's still extremely warm. You're talking mid-20s still in October. It stays that way probably up till early November or mid-November. I think it stays, and it starts to get down to 20 and so on and so forth. Then they get a normal winter. I was going to say like we do, they don't get the wet winter, they do get the really snowy ones. But yeah, believe it or not, it's really, really warm up to kind of the start of November. So we always go the mid to end of October every single year, and it's still extremely busy there as well. And I'm putting that out there as that's not a bad thing. It's great because everybody's there for the same reason, and it's so nice because there's so many nice people over there. It's incredible.
Yeah. What made you think about going to Medjugorje in the first place?
When I came back to my faith, one of the things I'd done just before I came back to my faith in 2019 was read Tony Fitzpatrick's autobiography. By that time I was beginning to get quite close to Tony, but I'd just read his autobiography, and there is a lot in Tony Fitzpatrick's autobiography about Medjugorje and certain things that happened to Tony in Medjugorje many years ago. And that probably drew me to Medjugorje almost straight away, albeit at that point reading it I wasn't with my faith, and then I had that light switch moment in mid-January in 2019 when I was coming back to my faith, and was almost instantly drawn to Medjugorje. But it was derived originally from Tony Fitzpatrick's autobiography, which it's not a plug for him, and it is, but his autobiography is incredible. It's an incredible autobiography. There's a lot of information there about our faith, about the Catholic faith, and it's fantastic. It's good he didn't hide it like many people would do, because that drew me straight away to Medjugorje.
Going back to Consilium, what does Consilium do, and what kind of company is it?
We're a multi-trade, a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week multi-trade repair service. We work quite a lot in the social housing sector for housing associations and councils, so doing a lot of reactive response repairs for all types of trades. We do things called voids, which is basically refurbishing of properties, medical adaptations, kitchens and bathrooms. So we do that a lot from the borders over to the west of Scotland and up further to Fife, to Dundee, for a lot of housing associations. In Renfrewshire and Glasgow we've got Consilium Plumbing and Heating, and in that part of Consilium, it's basically the same company, it's still Consilium. We do the exact same work for private customers in their houses. So it's the same people, the same engineers, are all our own people doing exactly the same type of work, except you're doing it in someone's private home, whereas in the other part of it you're doing it in someone's tenanted home, whether they're under a housing association or a council. But it's all types of repairs for people's homes. But we're fortunate enough to do work with the Paisley Diocese as well. Fortunate enough to do a lot of work with Simon Football Club, and we actually have started to do work for the Church of Scotland as well over very recently, which has been fantastic as well. So it's kind of upgrades and enhancements and so on and so forth, which we think is spinned off the back of the work we do for the Paisley Diocese. Someone's noticed it and got in contact with us in January, and here we are. So it's been fantastic.
What does it feel like when you see the name of your company on the strips of St Mirren football players?
Just pride. Pride, I think I mentioned that earlier on, for obviously for the company, but more so for the McGrath family, because it's something big for us. Because where we grew up and how we grew up, I would say probably all the McGraths, we came from a socially, and I did come from a socially rooted background. So to come from a deprived area in Paisley that we grew up in, to see our name, albeit it says Consilium, but our name on the shirts is something just that we've all got immense pride in, and it's great to see it. It's fantastic to see those players, like you say, running out and our logos on the front of that strip, and considering we're all, Paisley born and bred, all the McGraths, it's just a sense of pride that we've got for it, and it's great.
Yeah, my final question is, what advice would you give to someone that wanted to start their own business?
I'm biased, so my advice was, if you're thinking about starting your own business, do it. If you're already starting to think about doing it, go for it and do it. The other part of it is, make sure you're sure in the market that you're going into. Stay with your own strengths, like I kind of have done with Consilium, because that was my background. Try and stay with the strengths that you have as an individual, and then exert them straight into your company. Make sure you've thought about the financial part of it, and you've got enough there that you've got enough for at least 3 months in advance of what you're doing. If you're only a single trader, you should be comfortable in that part of it. But first and foremost, if you're thinking about doing it, do it. Go for it. What have you got? You've got nothing to lose. Particularly if you've got the financial backing, if you've kept some money aside. Play to your own strengths. Have a scout at the market. It's called strength, weaknesses, opportunities and targets. Have a look at the market you're looking at. Target the opportunities and where they are, and go for it. Don't, the big thing is, if somebody's thinking about doing it, don't think. Just do it. Go for it.
Thank you for your time, Paul.
No problem at all. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you to Paul McGrath for joining me on the Diocese of Paisley podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, give it a like and a follow wherever you download your podcasts from or listen to them from.